Hello and welcome to this video where we're going to solve and find all the solutions from 0 to 2 pi for this equation. Tangent of x minus 3 sine of x is equal to 0. Okay, so here's the thing. We have two different trig functions. That's not good, all right? So what we want to do is find a way to convert it to a single trig function, or we kind of want to play around with it and see what we can do. Now here's the thing. We're going to rewrite this. Tangent can be written as sine over cosine. And so that's all of x minus 3 sine of x. Now here's what I'm thinking. Normally, when you're dealing with numbers and you have a fraction, you want to get rid of the fractions because it makes life difficult. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to multiply everything here on the left-hand side by cosine of x. And then we'll have to do the same thing on the right-hand side, multiply by cosine of x. When we do that, we'll distribute to these two terms, and what's going to happen is this cosine and this cosine are going to cancel out, leaving us with sine of x in that first term minus 3 sine of x cosine of x is equal to 0, because 0 times anything is 0. Now we no longer have any fractions. That's great. And what I'm seeing is a common factor of sine. So I can factor out a sine. Sine of x times the quantity 1 minus cosine of x is equal to 0. And by 1, or there should be a 3 there. There we go, 3. All right, put a little bracket. Cool. Now we have an a times b is equal to 0, and that only works if a is 0 or b is 0. So sine of x equals 0, or we have 1 minus 3 cosine of x is equal to 0. Now what I'm going to do is solve, so I got to think about where sine is 0. Sine's my y value, so that's going to be there and there. So that's going to be at pi and at 0. So here's 0 and there's pi. Now for this other one, it's going to be a little more tricky. We're looking at, let's see, add cosine to both sides, divide by 3. So we're having cosine of x is equal to 1/3. 1/3 is not a common unit circle value, so like 1/3 on the x would be right about here, really close to 1/2 but not quite there. So that means that we're going to need to use the cosine inverse. So cosine inverse of 1/3, figure out what that is. And so 1 second here, calculator, make sure your calculator is in radians. 1 divided by 3, and that gives me about 1.23 for my first one. And then to find the second one, because I want to know where this is, I'm going to go 2 pi minus my 1.23. So 2 pi minus my answer, and that gives me 5.05. Oh, actually, I want it here. I want positive 1/3. So yeah, all the way around there. All right, so there are our 4 solutions to the equation.